Good morning, members. It is the appointed time and we have a quorum. The meeting of the Bills Committee on Betting Duty Amendment Bill 2025 will now begin. I will now invite the staff to invite the administration to come in.
好，一陣我就會請
In a moment's time, I will invite Secretary for Home and Youth Affairs, Ms. Alice Mack, to walk us through the contents, and then I will open the floor. Remember to declare your pecuniary interest whatsoever. I will remind you in due course again. Ms. Alice Mack, welcome to the meeting.
好阿麥局長。
Ms. Alice Mack and her team have been seated. I will now first invite her to walk members briefly through the bill. Now you may press the button at the moment. Those of you who would like to speak, please press the request to speak button. Ms. Mack, ready when you are. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, members. My team and I are here today to brief members on the Betting Duty Amendment Bill 2025. First, I would like to emphasize the background of the policy. As we have mentioned many times, we do not encourage gambling. Concerning the issue of gambling, we adopt a multi-pronged approach. First and foremost, we enforce the law to crack down on illegal gambling activities. And second, we educate the public on the harm of excessive gambling. We also provide consultation and supporting services for those in need. And lastly, we regulate gambling activities through the law. We allow gambling activities only for catering to the demand for gambling, to divert them away from illegal gambling activities. Now, from the consultation exercise, we gather that regulating betting on basketball is supported by the public. Now, it will be modeled upon the model on existing regime for football betting. The Secretary for Home and Youth Affairs will issue a license on basketball betting conductor. We will also try to limit the impact on juvenile by disallowing them to bet. Now, we will model the betting regime on the football betting regime. That is, we will charge 50% of betting duty from the net stake receipts. And also, the Betting and Lotteries Commission will be expanded to cover matters relating to basketball betting. If the bill is passed, we will issue a single license to the Hong Kong Jockey Club on basketball betting. It will prevent exacerbating the demand for betting with multiple competitors. Now, there are worries that whether regulating the betting on basketball activities would encourage gambling in society. As I've mentioned in the Council previously, we attach importance to prevention of gambling problems, especially for juvenile. Now, there will be two areas we are working on. First of all, we will establish a robust regulatory regime to minimize the negative impacts of gambling on society. Through the Pink Wall Fund, we will offer treatment, education, and counseling services for the public. Now, juveniles' participation rate in gambling has remained low for many years. Despite that, we will allocate more resources to establish a dedicated counseling and support center on gambling for juveniles on top of the existing 4. We will inculcate the right values in juveniles' mind. We will educate them that by betting on illegal gambling sites, it is against the law. Now, we hope members will support the bill so that we can implement the regulatory regime as soon as possible. Now, finally, there are two technical issues to bring to the members' attention. to facilitate the scrutiny process. First, now in the Council brief we have submitted to the Bills Committee, besides the basketball betting regime, there are also two proposals concerning increasing the number of simulcast races and simulcast days as proposed by the HKJC. Now, broadcasting of non-local races on local race days and non-local race days are allowed under the license of the Hong Kong Jockey Club. So according to the past practice, we would inform the Council of the change rather than asking the Bills Committee to approve the change. And also, we are cancelling the provisions concerning collecting betting duty on overseas bets implemented between 2013 to 16. These are outdated provisions. The amendments does not involve policy changes. Now, in the following, me and my team will be pleased to take questions from members. Thank you, Ms. Mack. Now, before I open the floor, since we are all here, I would like to gauge your views on whether we should collect public submission. So in what form should we collect public views? Mr. Tommy Cheung, Chairman, as usual, since COVID, we have been taking public submission through written submission, and I think that is a good practice. After receiving the public submissions, the government can provide a written reply which we can discuss about. So I support the usual practice. So I suggest we take public submission through the website. Any other views? Is that agreed by all? I see all of you nodding. So the Secretariat will invite public submission through the website. Now the floor for policy discussion is now open. 14 members have pressed the button. Once again, the bill is about basketball betting, and the Jockey Club is involved. Please declare your interest before you speak. The members are Reverend Peter Kuhn, Mr. Jimmy Ng, Dr. Charman Kong, Mr. Bill Tang, Ms. Nixie Lam, Dr. Dick Chi Yun, Mr. Edward Leung, Kenny Fogg, Edward Lau, Chen Siu Hong, Michael Look, Ms. Carmen Kan, Ms. Eunice Young, and Mr. Tommy Cheung, the last member so far. Now, to be fair, I will give each of you 5 minutes, questions and answers included. Reverend Peter Kuhn. Chairman, I declare interest. I'm a member of the Hong Kong Jockey Club, but I am not a bettor myself. Am I coming through? Chairman, I declare interest. I'm a member of the Hong Kong Jockey Club. Am I coming through? Thank you. Now, there are worries in society. We had football betting. Now we will have basketball betting as well. So in the foreseeable future, can the government ensure there will not be betting on other ball games as well? There are some worries about that possibility. The second, from the paper and from what I gathered from the panel, illegal betting, illegal gambling has been growing at an alarming rate, and there are lots of difficulties in law enforcement. I know the government has worked hard to crack down on illegal gambling. However, because of overseas servers, it's very hard to crack down on these activities. Now, since we are legalizing basketball betting, there will be legitimate profit earned by the jockey club. So will the jockey club be required to dedicate more resources to supporting gamblers and juveniles? 3 questions, Secretary. Thank you, Reverend Kuhn. As I've mentioned in the opening, the government has never encouraged gambling. Concerning illegal betting or gambling addiction, we adopt a multi-pronged approach to handle the issue. First, stringent law enforcement. Second, public education. Third, offering treatments and counseling services to gamblers with addiction. And lastly, when there is rampant illegal betting, we would offer a limited, regulated avenue for betting. So this time it is basketball. Would there be other ball games in the future? At present, we don't see any other ball games which illegal gambling on them is so rampant that warrants regulation. So as I've said, when it is evident that the first 3 approaches are insufficient to handle the issue, we will take the last resort. That is to offer a limited, regulated, legitimate way to bet on the sport to minimize the negative impacts brought about by illegal gambling. Now, illegal gambling, especially on basketball, according to the law enforcement agencies, many of the bets are placed online. There is the technical barrier, and it is difficult to crack down on illegal gambling websites. Over the past few years, the increase in illegally placed bets online was alarming. That's why we are resorting to the last measure. As mentioned, from the beginning, we are concerned about the impact of gambling on juveniles. Now, according to figures, the participation rates of juveniles in gambling activities has been quite low. Still, the Hong Kong Jockey Club will allocate more funds to the Ping War Fund to establish another counseling and treatment center for juvenile gamblers on top of the original 4. Juveniles bet on all kind of sports or gambling activities besides football and basketball. They can place a bet on just any app or website. We will educate the youth that a bet placed on illegal gambling sites, including apps, is illegal. It carries a maximum of 9-month sentence and $50,000 in fine. So we will resort to innovative ways to educate the youth on the harm of illegal gambling. Mr. Jiming, I declare interest. I'm a Hong Kong Jockey Club member. Now, riding on the previous question, illegal gambling is rampant, so I support regulating basketball betting. Now, some figures. In 2023, there were some $34 billion placed on basketball. In 2024, $70 billion to $19 billion in turnover on basketball betting. So can the government explain, after implementing the basketball betting regime, what is your target of reduction in bets placed on illegal websites? And how much do you think we can reduce?
Secretary, thank you, Chairman. I thank the member for the question. If we look at football betting, since its regulation, since 2003, we have derived some $1,000 billion in terms of betting turnover. So we want to regulate illegal betting and divert illegal betting to legal betting. We have been monitoring the betting situation. If we offer legal means for betting, then the click rate on online illegal betting websites would drop. By half. That's why we have to find ways to combat illegal betting. Thank you. Next, Mr. Chairman Kwong. Thank you, Chairman. The Secretary said that the government does not encourage gambling. I think that we do have to regulate illegal betting. Since the regulation of football betting, we have derived about $1.6 trillion, approximately $5 billion of turnover per year. Second, the Secretary also said that many illegal betting is done online. Should we also spend some resources on, say, online patrol to combat illegal online gambling? We have been focusing on nurturing basketball athletes and talents. Will the administration spend resources on it as well? The Jockey Club said that they expect that $1.5 billion of turnover will be generated from the regulation of basketball betting. While we combat illegal basketball betting, we have to look at whether there is such a demand for basketball betting, because for illegal betting, their odds, their bet types are very diversified and they are very attractive to bettors. So I wonder if the bettors will actually resort to legal means to place their bets. How can we make sure that the Jockey Club has enough types of bets to make sure that bettors will opt for legal betting means? Thank you. Secretary. Thank you, Chairman. Over the past few years, the law enforcement agencies have been spending much resources on their online patrolling. But I'd like to say that illegal betting websites upgrade their technology and systems very rapidly because the turnover is huge and the profits is very luring. We will continue to step up law enforcement action and we will compete with the illegal betting websites. The member asked if the legal means of betting will be attractive enough. When we set out our licensing conditions, we have to make sure that the licensees is regulated effectively. Say, for example, the classes of competitions, the means where licensed operator accept bets. Say, for example, they cannot accept credit betting. But we are also going to leave enough flexibility for the licensed operator so that they can compete with illegal betting operator. I thank the member for noticing this point. That's why when we consider the betting duty and the bet types, we set such a threshold and we reserve for flexibility for the licensed operator. We want to make sure that the operator is competitive enough so that we can encourage bettors to resort to legal means of betting. More importantly, we have to take enforcement action and launch promotional and publicity campaigns. We're not seeing that after legalizing basketball betting, our work can stop. We will continue to step up law enforcement. We will continue to launch publicity and education campaigns to minimize the impact of gambling on our people. Mr. Tancapio. Thank you, Chairman. I've never placed a single bet in my life. I've never even participated in Mike 6 lottery. I have some technical questions. First, in 2003, football betting was legalized and regulated. So we have accumulated experience for football betting for some 20 years. I wonder if after legalizing football betting, we have actually successfully combated illegal football betting. Let me give you an example. Many legal bets are placed online. I wonder if you have asked the banks to prevent their clients from sending money to illegal betting operators. Were you able to neutralize these illegal syndicates who offer illegal football betting? Because we already have a regulatory regime for football betting. I wonder if we will be able to combat illegal basketball betting effectively based on our experience with football betting. Second, we don't want young people to become addicted to gambling. But for US NBA, their games happen at night. I don't think that any young people would place their bets physically at the Hong Kong Jockey Club branches. They would very often ask their friends to place their bets for them. So how do you prevent young people from asking their friends to place their bets? Third, I don't think that adults should be addicted to gambling either. When the regulatory regime for basketball betting is put in place, how do the Jockey Club and the administration remind frequent bettors that they should be mindful of the risks? Many people place their bets online. Will you say include some pop-up screens on your application reminding frequent bettors that gambling is not good? They should not become addicted. Fourth, I know that the Jockey Club is going to increase the number of treatment and counseling support centers. I come from a trade union. Many workers are addicted to gambling. I wonder if the administration will leverage the strength of trade unions to promote the message. Secretary, thank you. The police does online patrol, and they do collaborate with other law enforcement agencies over the world. In 2024, we arrested 5,000 odd people who were involved in illegal betting. The member asked how effective our law enforcement action is. As I mentioned, we will not stop at the legislative exercise. With the framework, we will step up our enforcement action. The Organized Crime and Triad Bureau of the Police is a unit that is responsible. The member said that young people ask their friends to place their bets on their behalf. We are aware of the situation. Even with the legal framework, we want to discourage young people from placing bets. We want to instill in them this mindset that they don't have to gamble as they watch the football games. That's why we are introducing the 5th Counseling and Support Center to focus on young people. We want to spread this message of gambling is not good to our young people so that they will not be incentivized to place a bet when they watch basketball games. Regarding the third and fourth questions, they are similar. Apart from young people, we also want to spread the message that gambling is bad for you among adults. And there is such pop-up message on our mobile application, and there are posters at the Jockey Club branches to spread such a message. And we have sent colleagues to betting stations to promote the harm of gambling addiction to bettors. We took proactive action to help people in need. We asked the Jockey Club to dedicate more resources to the Pink Wolf Fund, and we are reviewing the duties and functions of the fund to see whether they actually can reach out to different groups of people effectively. We also want to focus on individual industry. We're not trying to label a particular trade, but there is a trade where the majority and many practitioners participate in gambling. Mr. Tang spent 7 minutes on his questions. Ms. Nixie Lam, thank you. I'm also concerned about young people. Many of them place their bets online. I know that from 4:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m., no advertisements on the conduct of betting on basketball matches on television or radio will be allowed. But I don't think that many young people watch TV anymore. So will we also restrict social media platforms? Because the cost of placing advertisements on social media platforms is very low, will you also place such a restrictions on, say, these platforms? For young people aged below 18, they may use their parents' accounts to place the bets. How do we prevent such from happening? Because I know that some young people use their parents' phones to purchase point cards for online games. For e-banking, say for example, they adopt this biometric authentication technology. If I want to say make a big transfer via e-banking, they ask me to authenticate my identity, leveraging on biometric technology. Can we also make use of such a means to prevent young people from using their parents' account to place bets?
2 questions, Ms. Alice Mack. Thank you, Ms. Lam, for your suggestions. On your second suggestion, smartphone users who would like to log on to the Hong Kong Jockey Club's website or the app to place bets, there should be more restriction and more verification. We will convey this message to the Hong Kong Jockey Club to include more functions in the Jockey Club, to add more safeguards besides passcooks. On the first question, as Ms. Lam has said, young people receive information through innovative channels other than the conventional ones. So whether or not we are regulating basketball betting, we will continue to educate our youth on the harm of gambling. That's why the Hong Kong Jockey Club will dedicate resources to establish a 5th counseling center for juvenile, not just for basketball betting, but to educate young people on the harm of excessive gambling. Now, illegal gambling activities can take place on mobile phones and other platforms as well. So the point is we have to educate the young people that this is something bad and you should never participate in illegal gambling. So we will reach out to young people through the preferred means to send the message. Next, Dr. Teck Chi Yun. Thank you, Chairman, for allowing me to speak. Now, my position is clear. I am against legitimating making basketball betting legal. Now, gambling is harmful. It tears family apart, and it weakens a person's determination on other pursuits in life. So I'm against gambling. So whether it is legal or not, gambling is gambling. By making betting legal, people would feel safer to place bets, and it would give rise to an atmosphere to gamble in society. In year 2023, the betting pool for football betting has grown from $16 billion to $160 billion. Now, by regulating football betting, the pool grew larger, and the government and the Hong Kong Jockey Club has made more profits, and that's it. So by making basketball betting legal, we shouldn't have any illusion that this will it will improve the situation. Now, the government's strategies are publicity, education, counseling, and then regulation. So on the first 3 approaches, has the government done your best? So are you telling society that you have done your best and it is still and the results are underwhelming? That's why you are resorting to the 4th approach. Secretary, Chairman, I have to emphasize unlike what Dr. Teck Chi Yun said, we are not using regulation to tackle the problem of gambling. As I've mentioned in previous settings, we adopt a multi-pronged approach to tackle the problem of gambling. First, law enforcement, stringent law enforcement. Second, publicity and education. We are raising the awareness in the public concerning the harm of gambling, and then counseling, and finally, diverting bets on illegal channel to legitimate channel. So for gamblers, especially addicted gamblers, we will educate and help them to become aware of the problem. On the question whether we have done our best, well, let me put it this way. We are not stopping at legislation. This law amendment exercise is simply a framework. We will not stop it there. That is unacceptable for us and to the society as well. As a responsible government, besides establishing a framework for a legitimate, regulated, and limited avenue for betting, we will not stop at enhancing our efforts on education, law enforcement, and counseling. I think Dr. Dick Chi-yun should have heard what I said earlier on. Despite the low level of participation by youth on betting, we are still building a 5th gambling counseling center. The counseling center will not be just for basketball betting. Its objective is to enhance the awareness against the harm of betting in the youth. So you can tell that we have been working very hard on every front. Same applies to law enforcement. The police force has been equipping itself with more updated technologies to crack down on illegal gambling. Intelligence sharing is taking place, and we are spending more resources on publicity, education. And as I said, we even reach out to gamblers in betting outlets or betting stations to offer help to them. So we are aware of the potential impacts of the regulation. This legislative framework is just one of the measures, but we are not stopping at other measures. Mr. Edward Leung, thank you. In March 2024, there were some 430,000 Hong Kongers betting illegally on basketball. So I support regulating basketball betting. But like Ms. Alice Mack said, we don't expect all 430,000 illegal bettors will be diverted to the legitimate platform. Not all of them. Now, by search on Google, a score of illegal gambling websites would come up. So even if the law enforcement agencies have done their best, it is still difficult to convince the public that you are doing your best, because there are still a lot of search results about illegal gambling websites. Now, last year, there was a survey showing that 30% of the respondents understand that illegal betting is illegal. Now, some of them said that their accounts have been frozen. It's because betting proceeds have been received through the accounts, so their accounts were frozen. As the Secretary said, for serious cases, there is an imprisonment sentence. So how can we educate the young people that betting on the illegal websites is an offense? Now, the 5th center under the Ping Wo Fund will target juvenile gamblers. So what measures will the center take to educate the youth on the harm of gambling? Secretary, thank you. As I've mentioned in my previous answers, in terms of cracking down on illegal gambling websites or bookmakers, the police has been stepping up its law enforcement work. So more cases have been detected each year. Mr. Leung mentioned a figure. 30% of respondents don't know that it is against the law to place bets on illegal gambling websites. So we have been telling the public the harm of gambling addiction. But not everyone knows that it is illegal, it is against the law simply by clicking an app on your phone and place a bet on those unauthorized websites. So I have been spreading this message on numerous platforms. It is against the law if you do so. It is participating in illegal gambling activities. The maximum imprisonment term can be 9 months and $50,000 fine. So as Ms. Nix Lam has said, children have easy access to their parents' phones, and sometimes parents will use their phone in front of their children. So illegal gambling is harmful. It also carries a criminal consequence. So for the fifth center targeting juvenile, we will use innovative methods to educate them. So besides the hardware, we will reach out to juveniles and organize activities. Not just APIs on television, we will use means preferred by young people, for example, their smartphones or even games, to spread the message. There will be pop-ups when they use their mobile phones to remind them of the harm of gambling. In the past, the Pink Wall Fund has been collaborating with schools, so we will step up efforts in this regard as well. There will be more collaboration with schools, parents, as well as youth groups. We will reach out to young people over the territory and educate them. Mr. Kenneth Fogg, thank you. I declare interest. I am a member of the selection committee of the Hong Kong Jockey Club. Now, I am very concerned about this issue as well. In other places and jurisdictions, experience shows that whenever a kind of betting activity is regulated, the proceeds will be spent on promoting the development of that sport. Now, by regulating basketball betting, there will be more revenue for the government. So I really hope that the government will spend the additional resources on promoting sports development, especially making sports a profession and an industry. I understand that we cannot specify the use of the process through an appropriation bill, but I want a promise from the government to give more support to the sports industry. Now, about the 50% betting duty. Now, again, I don't disagree with the level. That's a regime modeling on the existing football betting regime. Now, as the Secretary said, another factor to be considered is whether the odds offered by the betting conductor, that's the Hong Kong Jockey Club, is attractive. That's a very realistic issue. Now, I suppose the 50% level is suggested by the Hong Kong Jockey Club or based on football betting. Now, the nature of football betting and basketball betting is very different. Now, in terms of inland revenue, the Legislative Council has the power to amend the duty rates through a resolution. Now, in Singapore and Macau, the betting duty is 20 to 25%. But there are other views that the betting duty rate should be set at 70%. So will there be a review mechanism to review the level of the duty rate? Now, Ping Wo Fund, that's another area. I support establishing a fifth center under the Ping Wo Fund. Now, the Ping Wo Fund now has some $100 million in the bank account, $7 million more than 2023. So more money will be allocated to the Ping Wo Fund. So I hope that besides providing more services and building a new center, will the Ping Wo Fund spend the additional revenue in a more targeted manner?
Secretary, 3 questions. Thank you, Mr. Falk, for the question. On how we support sports in Hong Kong. Although we are creating a regulatory framework for basketball betting, we are one government. Throughout the process, we will let the Hong Kong Jockey Club know that they have to reinforce their contribution to our society. They have to make charitable donations. They have to support sports development in Hong Kong and support the government in developing sports-related policy. As I mentioned, they have contributed some $450 million on the organization of the national games. We share the same direction and goals. I'd like to talk about the Ping Wo Fund issue first. That's your third question. As I mentioned, we are going to review the functions of the Ping Wo Fund because there are 4 counseling and support service centers under the Ping Wo Fund. As to whether or not these centers have given full play to their functions, as to whether they have actually educated the people, as to whether people know or has received the message that gambling addiction is harmful, we will look into them and we will review the duties of the Ping Wo Fund on top of dedicating more resources to the fund. Can the 4 centers achieve their intended outcome and functions? Well, we will try to make the best use of the resources that we have. As I mentioned, under the Ping Wo Fund scheme, we have been not only working with schools, but also trade unions of different sectors, youth groups. As to the 50% betting duty, we've made reference to the experience with football betting. As I mentioned, we expect that 50% of illegal bettors will be opting for legal means of betting after the regulatory regime has been put in place. Under the licensing conditions, we ask the Jockey Club to submit a report regularly on their finance and the competitions. So through the report and our communication with the Betting and Lotteries Commission, we're going to review the compliance situation of the Jockey Club, of the licensing conditions, to see if we need to review the betting duty level. Some people in the community ask us to raise the duty level, some ask us to lower it. That's why we will continue to review the situation. Secretary, in 3 to 5 years, perhaps you should make a report to the government on the situation. Definitely, upon regulation of basketball betting, we're going to come back to make a report. But we have to wait 3 to 5 years before we can make such a report. On the operation of the regime. Well, the LegCo member has a duty to monitor. But we cannot come back very soon because we need to look at the progress over the long run. After the Jockey Club has attained the license, we have to analyze the bet types and the classes of competitions offered by the Jockey Club. Mr. Fox spent 7 minutes. I will take that into account when you press for the second round. Mr. Lau Guofan. Thank you, Chairman. I have to declare interest. I am a member of the Jockey Club. I have been supporting the regulation of basketball betting. There are indeed many people, including young people, who are participating in illegal basketball gambling. There is no way for us to completely put a stop to illegal basketball betting. I think that the way forward should be to regulate it. I've worked in the Betting and Lotteries Commission. I know that the Home and Youth Affairs Bureau has all along been playing the gatekeeping role. After legalizing the football betting, for example, we see that the number of illegal bettors have reduced. I have a question. After the passage of the bill, the Jockey Club will be the licensed operator. When will the regulatory regime be put in place? Many people place bets online illegally these days. Government may block the IP of these websites or intercept them. Some websites may be illegal in other countries. I think that the government should simply block the IP of these websites. Say, for example, when we want to watch videos from other countries, sometimes we're not able to do so because the IP is blocked. So I wonder if this is feasible, and has the government blocked the IP of any such illegal gambling website? For football and basketball gambling, can the administration ask the Jockey Club to establish any fund to support the development of football and basketball locally? Many people say that we have not put enough resources on the development of local football and basketball. I wonder if we can take this opportunity, for example, to ask the Jockey Club to dedicate more resources on the development of football and basketball in Hong Kong. Well, the fourth question has been put the third time. Secretary, now on when the Jockey Club can start taking bets on basketball, well, it hinges on when the bill can be passed in the Legislative Council. With the legal framework, we will talk to the Jockey Club on licensing conditions. Only when the Jockey Club has attained the license can they start working on their systems, their IT. I believe that will take a few months. I can ask the Jockey Club to make an estimate as to when they can start taking bets after they have obtained the license. We have been working on the legal framework, but as for the preparatory work, we have to ask the Jockey Club if they can provide us with any more information. As to whether we can intercept illegal gambling websites, the police has been working on it. I do not have the figures asked by the member. I can supplement it for you after consulting the police. As to whether we can ask the Jockey Club to dedicate resources to support the local development of basketball and football, we will relay your suggestions to the Jockey Club. I do think that the Jockey Club should offer resources to the government to help us promote sports development. And very recently, they have sponsored the Home and Youth Affairs Bureau on the organization and hosting of the national games. We will seek further support from the Jockey Club if necessary. Mr. Chan Shu-hong. Thank you, Chairman. I have one comment and one reminder, as well as one question for the administration. According to paragraph 4 of the paper, it is said that when assessing the need to authorize new betting activities, the following three factors will be taken into account, one of which is whether the demand is now being satisfied by illegal means and the problem cannot be practically and fully tackled by law enforcement action, even with the devotion of substantial resources. If I may remind the administration, the purpose of regulating or legalizing basketball betting is not to solve the problems faced by law enforcement action. No one in the community is encouraging gambling. We can be legalizing basketball betting today. In the future, we may be legalizing, say, car races or drone races. If there is prevalence of other forms of illegal betting, the government may establish regulatory regime for those type of betting. I don't think that this is the way to go. Second, on Pink Wall Fund, Mr. Kenneth Fogg put a similar question. In 2021, the Pink Wall Fund conducted a questionnaire on the gambling situation in Hong Kong. That was done during the COVID. The fund said that there are 1,560 respondents of young people. 16% of secondary school students said that they have participated in illegal betting in the past year. The first time the people placed their bets was about 14%, and 143 bettors said that they first started betting since they were 10 to 17 years old. So I wonder how effective it is for the Jockey Club to increase the number of counseling and treatment centers. According to paragraph 25 of the paper, it is said that the proportion of bettors in the 18 to 20 age group has consistently remained low. That is about 1 to 2% in the past few years. I wonder if the Pink Wall Fund has conducted any comprehensive and systematic survey in recent years to substantiate the saying that the number of young people who have been betting is low.
首先對於第一個
A question and a suggestion. Secretary. Thank you. I thank Mr. Chen Xihong for his reminder. As you have said, our position is firm. As I said, our work will not stop at establishing the legislative framework. After the framework has come to be, we will continue with our law enforcement work and we will step up on our education work through the fifth center. And also, we will provide more counseling and treatment. We will review whether the existing 4 counseling centers are up to standard. So the message we are sending is clear. Our work on cracking down on illegal basketball betting will not stop as this legislative exercise. The other areas of work under the framework, including law enforcement, counseling, and education, we will even enhance our efforts on them. When there is less demand in society for betting, when audience will just enjoy the sports rather than betting, that's our vision. So that's why I've been saying we have to review whether the existing 4 centers have been doing their job properly. And then there is the 5th center. Its position is to offer help to juvenile gamblers. So I would defer to my colleague on the effectiveness of the Paying War Fund. Now, if you compare more updated figures, you can see that the Paying War Fund is working smoothly. Mr. Wong, Paul Wong, thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Member. Let's compare the figures. Now, in 2021, the rate was 39.5%, and in 2016, the gambling rate was 61.5%, so there was a decrease. Now, in 2021, for secondary students, the gambling rate was 21.8%, compared with 15.9% in 2021. So there has been an improvement among juvenile gambling problem as well. Now, the figure I gave you was 2021. Now, in 2025, we are regulating basketball betting. So before we have basketball betting, has the situation of gambling on football and horse racing gotten worse? Now, we are already preparing for allocating more funds to the Paying War Fund. We will conduct another set of survey because the figure previously were affected by the pandemic. Mr. Michael Look, thank you, Chairman. Concerning regularizing basketball betting, I support the government stance. That is, we do not encourage gambling. So this legislative amendment is the last resort. Now, stakes on basketball betting has grown to 70 billion to 90 billion Hong Kong dollars. So we really need to divert these turnover to legitimate platforms. This is understandable. I myself am a basketball fan, but I'm not a gambler. That's my policy because I know how easy it is to get addicted in gambling. It is very easy to get heady when you win money. Now, over the past year, betting on illegal gambling websites has increased by 186%. If only our stock market is growing by this rate, it shows that illegal gambling is really serious. Now, according to past experience, by regulating the betting activity, we can divert at least half of the stakes on illegal gambling activities to legitimate channel. Now, the Hong Kong Jockey Club allocate some $50 million to the Ping Wo Fund over 2 years' time for research and educational work. Now, my question is on research. Has a research been conducted on why, over the past few years, there was such an alarming rate of increase in gambling activities? Was it because of the internet, or was there any other factors? It will be useful for formulating policies to discourage gambling. And I have some expectations for the Jockey Club. Now, I may be a party pooper, but I think it might be good to display advertisements against betting on the Jockey Club's mobile apps or the betting station. For example, reminding the bettors to think about their families and remind them to bet responsibly. I think most people are using the app to place a bet. So if there is a pop-up kindly reminding you to be careful about betting, that would be great. That's like the warning message on cigarette boxes. 3 questions. So some members have asked questions about publicity already. Secretary. Thank you, Chairman. Concerning the work of the Ping Wo Fund, we do conduct regular reviews on the work. Now, the past review was conducted in 2021, which was still under the impacts of the pandemic. So we are going to conduct another review to get an idea of the latest picture. Now, gambling has grown rampant in recent years. There are 2 reasons. Most people do not know that it is an offense to place bets illegally. Second, it is more and more convenient to download an app to place a bet through a click on your phone. But that's still illegal. So that's why I said we will step up our efforts on publicity. We will review whether there is room for improvements in our publicity efforts. Now, about the pop-up reminder, as I said, there are these warnings in betting stations and also from the app. So we will continue to remind, or rather request, the Hong Kong Jockey Club to update their advertisements or reminders. If the reminders remain unchanged, then its effect will be lost. So we need to make sure that the pop-up message is read by the users. Mr. Carmen Khan. Thank you, Chairman. I declare interest. I am a member of the selection committee of the Hong Kong Jockey Club. So I think the government's position is clear. We don't encourage gambling. So then it gives rise to a fallacy in logic. Since you do not encourage gambling, why do you regularize betting? Well, I think the message is we can't turn a blind eye to the existence of the illegal basketball betting market. That's why we are regulating basketball betting, exactly because we do not encourage betting. So I think we need to explain the logic clearly to society. The situation has gone so badly that we need to regularize basketball betting rather than turning a blind eye to the situation. So I suggest shifting the focus of your publicity campaign to gambling responsibly. Several members have suggested that we need to allocate more fund to Pingwo Fund. Now, between 2023 to 25, there were some $45 million allocated. 2026 to 27, there will be another $50 million allocated. So I think it is necessary for Pingwo Fund to give us an updated report of its work. And also, the Jockey Club should consider allocating more resources to Pingwo Fund. The membership of Pingwo Fund should be expanded. We need to continue to innovate the publicity methods used by the Pingwo Fund. So some questions and a suggestion. Second, illegal gambling. It's not just the purview of the HYAB. Other bureaus are also responsible for that. So may I ask the administration to study the effectiveness of our law on combating overseas illegal betting. If there is insufficient empowerment, then if there is another kind of illegal betting in the future, a law will not be sufficient to address the matter. Secretary, I thank Ms. Carmen Khan for her suggestions. Our objectives are the same. We have always been using regularization and limitation to address the problem of gambling. And that's one of the measures we use to tackle the problem of gambling. So we will continue to follow up on the work of Pingwo Fund. Now, the 4 existing gambling counseling centers are manned with professional social workers. Now, whether their work is up to date and whether they are sufficient to educate the public on the harm of gambling, we will conduct a review on the work of those 4 centers. Now, as I said, the Pingwo Fund mainly worked with schools in the past, but there is a need to collaborate with community organizations, youth groups, sports associations, and even other organizations. Other stakeholders, including parents, are important. Now, parents are the ones who can monitor how their children use their phones. Now, second, I thank Ms. Carmen Khan for her question about empowerment on our law enforcement agencies. This is a very important area. Our agents need to be empowered to tackle the issue of illegal betting, basketball or other sports. So I think with member support, our law enforcement agencies we have more confidence in enforcing the law. Ms. Yunus-Yung, now I support the proposal. The amendment will effectively address the issue of illegal basketball betting online. The situation is bad. The number of illegal bettors has grown to 430,000 people in 2024 from 150,000 in 2023. It is alarming. Betting on illegal websites provides no guarantee to private property because the operators are criminals. They are syndicates and they indulge in criminal activities. So for other types of illegal betting, including illegal horse race betting and basketball betting, We need to regularize them. The Secretary has been clear on this. Visiting and placing bets on these illegal websites are illegal. That is not known to many people in Hong Kong. The public doesn't know that simply placing a bet on illegal gambling websites is legal. Some may think that if they do not win any money, then it's fine. Now, with a legitimate avenue to place bets on basketball games, it would improve the situation. But some parents may be worried. Basketball betting will be made legal through platforms operated by Jockey Club. Now, for basketball, the pace of the game is much faster than football. Basketball games come with a lot of scores. The excitement it brings to gamblers is on a different level. Now, NBA and WNBA games are usually broadcast in morning hours in Hong Kong. So how will you regulate advertisements on basketball betting in Hong Kong on television and radio? And also we have to strike a balance between cracking down on gambling culture and also freedom to information for juveniles. So we want to step up on publicity while discouraging gambling.
正頭先議員都講。
Secretary, I thank Ms. Young for the question. Yes, many people download a mobile application to place bets. As soon as they click on the bet placing button, they are committing an offense and they will be fined $50,000 and be imprisoned for 7 months. So I'd like to remind the members of the public, as long as you place a bet, regardless of the amount, even though it may be just $10, this is a criminal act. Many people never gamble in their lives. They just watch the games solely for entertainment. We want to let people know the harm of gambling. The most ideal situation would be where everyone in Hong Kong just watch basketball games without gambling on it. This is the goal that we want to achieve. But before that, we have to take enforcement action. We have to offer counseling service and offer a legal means for people to place bets to control illegal betting. Regarding broadcast of games, basketball broadcast will be unlike horse racing, because when we simulcast horse racing, we include the odds on the screen. We will not do the same when we broadcast basketball games. Mr. Tommy Chang, I have to declare interest so that you all know why my stance is. I am an honorary voting member of the Jockey Club. Since 1983, I have been joining 83 horse racing seasons. I stay at the horse racing course from the first race throughout the last one. In 2003, the Liberal Party supported legalizing and regulating football betting. At that time, we carried out 2 surveys. I told Mr. Ho Chi-ping that regulating football betting was an option. So we have been regulating football betting for some 20 years. I've never placed a single bet on football games. I never placed a bet myself, but I may have contributed to bets placed by my friends during the World Cup. When I went to the US when I was in my teenage years, I was fascinated by NBA. At that time, gambling was legalized there, but I never placed a bet. Not even for college football games or basketball games. My son also likes to watch basketball games, but he also never placed a single bet. So I don't think that people would be encouraged to gamble after regulating basketball betting. The Liberal Party organized and conducted 2 surveys. I didn't have time to listen to members' question just now because I was in the meeting of the panel on health services just now. What I can tell you is that over the past few years, many members and people told me that they are worried that with the regulatory regime for basketball betting, gambling activities would go up. That's the same as what I heard when the government was trying to regulate football betting. I can share with you the outcome of the survey that we conducted last year. We received response from 1,000 members of the public. There aren't that many young people, not even those aged 30, gamble very often. As a result, I don't think that people will be encouraged to gamble upon regulating basketball betting activities. Many people, as soon as they hear that the Liberal Party support regulating basketball betting, ask us to regulate also betting on golf. We have only introduced a new type of betting activities after some 20 years. So I don't think that we will be regulating betting on golf or tennis very soon. The administration that I know has always been unwilling to regulate or legalize any form of betting activities. But if we don't regulate this, then illegal betting operators would benefit. If you don't have money and you bet on credit, then that's gambling for me. Is, say, buying a lottery ticket of $10 or $20 gambling? I don't think so. My apologies, I will not speak for the second round. I'd like to finish my speech. I have been watching horse racing in other countries because some of the races are not simulcast in Hong Kong. I never gambled overseas either. But I am a horse owner. I want to know more about this type of animal, and I want to know what the strengths of some particular horses are. That's just to enrich my knowledge as a horse owner. I just also like to tell you that I never placed a single bet on horse racing. I just want to know more about horses. So I support also the simulcast of non-local races in Hong Kong. I have to declare, Mr. Johnny Ng. I have to declare interest. I'm a jockey club member. I support the proposals. I don't support gambling. I don't think that we should encourage it. I believe that same as some 20 years ago when we regulate football betting activities, we just want to offer bettors a legal means to place bets so that we will not benefit a legal gambling operator. I have some questions. I know that there are 4 counseling and support centers under the Ping War Fund, and there will be 1 more added. Many members asked about how we can better suppress gambling. I wonder if we are going to have KPIs for the centers, because the Ping War Fund only conduct assessment once every few years. I wonder if the administration have any KPI for the 4 centers of the Ping War Fund. Second, on illegal betting websites. I know that the law enforcement agencies have already blocked many such websites, but many are not yet blocked. I wonder if the law enforcement agency should step up their efforts in this area. If you want to place a bet on the website, you have to perhaps enter your credit card information, I believe. So I wonder if the administration will step up online patrol. Many young people don't know that placing a bet on these overseas online betting website is illegal. We used to ask people to place bets via credit cards, but now these illegal betting websites or overseas websites are accepting cryptocurrency. So I'd like to know if the administration can offer us some information on this area. When we log on to the Hong Kong Jockey Club website, we will see pop-up message saying that gambling is harmful. I do think that we do have to ask the Jockey Club to update their message often. I believe that this will help adults and young people alleviate their addiction. 3 questions. The second and the third questions have been put many times. Secretary, over to you. Thank you. I'd like to respond to Mr. Tommy Chang's questions. First, we want to regulate basketball betting activities cautiously and prudently. If the illegal betting situation is not as serious, we would not be resorting to legalizing and regulating such activity. Mr. Tommy Chang gave us a background against which the government introduced such proposals. We adopt a 3-pronged approach of law enforcement, counseling, and education. Mr. Johnny Ng, I can give you some figures on the KPI of the 4 centers of the Ping War Fund. In 2024-25, the Ping War Fund has organized school activities, and they also have mobile promotional vehicles to promote responsible gambling message. We will definitely review the services offered by these 4 centers to see if they're effective. We have seen many successful cases. Where gambling addiction is relieved among chronic bettors. But as to how we reach out to the people who need help, this is the problem that we have to look into. On the point about cryptocurrency, the reason why the turnover of legal betting has gone up so rapidly in the recent year is because of the technological advancement. That's why we have to resort to this means of regulating basketball betting activities. That's because many people are just able to download a mobile application and place the bets. Thank you.
嗰度你回
On publicity, any reply? Yes, I agree. The warning message can't remain unchanged for 5 years' time. People will just ignore it if it remains the same. So we will update the design and the wordings of the warning message, and also we will try to make it dynamic message. Ms. Rebecca Chan, my apologies. I am also a member of the panel next door, so pardon me if my questions are repeating others. Now, I think it is of utmost urgency to regulate basketball betting. My concern is on juvenile betting. Now, the situation has gotten so serious that my ward office has received cases where credit betting can be made on illegal websites. They can borrow money to bet. So even before they have an income, many juveniles have lost a lot of money. So we need to send a message to the public that our discussion is not about encouraging basketball betting, but rather than limiting the extent of harm. Now, the role to be played by Jockey Club, it allocates resources to the Paintball Fund every year. But I think the publicity of Paintball Fund is underwhelming. As a parent, I haven't received any advertisements or publicity materials about anti-gambling message in school. Now, on Wednesday and Saturday and Sunday, when you switch on the television, you can see horse races. So I think the publicity campaign has to reach out into households. So the additional revenue should be allocated to better publicity. Like the Secretary said, placing a bet with a click on the phone is illegal. Can we create more short video clips which young people favor to send a message? Now, like the advertisement, the advertising campaign against smoking, we have to drive the message into people's mind that smoking can cause lung cancer and other terminal illnesses. The same should apply for gambling as well. We need to use memorable cases to warn the public. And also there are warning signs for potential gambling addicts. So I think the Health Bureau can help here. But there is a health survey to gauge the situation of young people every year. So I think we can add a question in the questionnaire about family members who are also gamblers. These cases should be referred to the Paintball Fund for follow-up. Now, in the yearly student health check and also in university, we can do more screening. Secretary, 3 suggestions. I thank Ms. Rebecca Chan for her suggestions. These are very practical suggestions. As I said, our publicity campaign do not just focus on juveniles. Parents are very important as well. If parents tell children one thing and then do another, that wouldn't help. So that's why I said, besides the legislative amendments, more importantly, we need to review the work of the Ping War Fund. Is their work up to date? Now, about the Ping War Fund's school publicity campaign, if Ms. Rebecca Chan said she hasn't received any information about the campaign in school, we will try to enhance the effectiveness of the publicity campaign. And also, we will make use of real-life cases to send a stronger message. Now, when we were in our childhood, we would be told that we shouldn't gamble because it can make you lose all your money, and even winning a bet can be a misfortune for you. So we need to think about messages which children of this day and age can remember. Thank you. There are 3 members requesting a second round, so I will entertain them. Are there any other members who would have a second go? If not, after the second round, I will also have some supplementary questions, and then we will start clause by clause. Dr. Dick Chi Yun, you spent 5 minutes, 42 seconds in the first round, so you still have some time left. Thank you. Now, as you all know, I'm against legitimizing basketball betting. But I agree that we should pay more attention to the youth. Now, the Secretary mentioned that the participation rate of juvenile in betting is low. But there are surveys showing that 55% of gambling addicts are young people. So we don't want to see even one young gambling addict. So we need to step up our work. Now, concerning the methods and contents of publicity campaign for youth, they are underwhelming. So we need to do better. Now it is during the, so we are now scrutinizing the bill. So of course the government is promising to do a lot, but I hope your efforts will be sustainable. So there are certain areas, for example, school, community, families, and modern social media platforms. So I hope there is a strategy to take forward the publicity campaign in a professional and effective manner. So are there dedicated teams under the HYAB to keep tab of the progress of your publicity work? So I hope your work would be continuous. There should be a continuous effort within the Bureau to make sure that the campaign lasts. Thank you, Chairman. I will take the second question. On the continuity of our efforts, there is a commissioner for youth under the HYAB. Through our youth policy, we would like to inculcate positive values and the sense of right and wrong in young minds. Then young people will understand the harm of gambling. So in response to the member's question, we share the same concern and urgency with the member. Youth work is our important work portfolio. We have a youth commissioner because we want a dedicated official to take charge in inculcating positive values in young people's mind. So we will continue with our line of work. Now, in my previous answers, I've mentioned that schools, parents, community, new social media, and relevant occupations, the sports association, and so on, we will continue to reach out to them. I will give you some figures to prove that we have been doing that continuously, not just for the sake of this bill, but rather it is part of our daily work. The allocation to Ping Wo Fund has been on the rise each year. This year, $50 million have been allocated as well. This is a good opportunity to discuss this matter because we are proposing a legislative framework. In the past, our work went unnoticed. Now, this is a good opportunity for us to bring this matter to the public's attention. So, pardon me for being long-winded. Just a click, placing a bet with just a click on your telephone is a crime. It carries imprisonment term and also $50,000 in fine. And I think some members have misunderstood our figures. I will defer to the Deputy Secretary, Mr. Paul Wong. Thank you very much. Now we need to objectively look at the statistics from the 4 counseling centers. So in the past 10 years, for those under the age of 18, the gambling rate was under 2%. Now between age 19 to 21 years old, the percentage is 2%. So that's why we said the percentage has remained low. Despite that, we are adding another center because we attach importance to the publicity work for youth. Next, Mr. Kenneth Fogg. I will round it up to 3 minutes. Is that enough? Yes, thank you, Chairman. Now, basketball betting is different in nature and form from football betting, so the jockey club should establish a separate system to deal with, to handle matters in relation to basketball betting. So besides the elements of betting, will that new system also be equipped with a surveillance system or warning system to implement preventive measures? Now, basketball is a very fast-paced game. The score for basketball matches are much higher than those in football matches. It may cause gamblers to keep placing bets in the course of the game. So will there be a surveillance system to monitor excessive betting or excessive number of bets placed in a short span of time? Will there be a suspension mechanism for the account holder? So can we consider something like that? Because since we need to have a brand new system for basketball betting anyway, will it be equipped with those functions? Now, we are not in the clause-by-clause stage yet, but many members mentioned about publicity campaign and also about the advertisement restriction between, say, 9:30 a.m. and 10:30 p.m. on Saturday or Sunday on radio and television. So can we update those restrictions as well?
多謝
2 questions, Secretary. I thank Mr. Falk for his suggestion. We will look into it when we talk to the Jockey Club. There is a cap on the betting amount. Each bet should not amount to more than $50,000, and the bet placed in a single day should not be more than $500,000. Regarding the basketball game, because the nature of it is very much different from football game. We will see if we will adjust the relevant amount as we talk to the Jockey Club. Now, in terms of promotion, we may put in place additional licensing conditions asking the Jockey Club to increase the amount of pop-up message they have, and we will also review the Pink Wolf Fund. People may not remember how many bets they've placed because there is often recess between NBA games. So I hope that the administration will follow up on this issue. Mr. Chan Chiu-hong, 3 minutes, please. Thank you, Chairman. I have 2 questions. First, in 2023, well, according to paragraph 8, there are about 150,000 Hong Kong bettors bet illegally on basketball in 2023, and around 430,000 Hong Kong residents have betted illegally on basketball in 2024, and the turnover is about $70 to $90 billion. I wonder why there is such a substantial rise. It is also said that the Jockey Club can only divert illegal betting to legal market in a few years' time. Why is that? Why does it take so long? Had the same happen for football betting? Thank you. Secretary, 2 questions. Thank you, Chairman. I asked the same question. I wonder if the amount and percentage quotas was real. It turned out it was. That's because of the technological advancement. People can place bets much more conveniently. A person may be able to open a few accounts in a few applications. That's why the turnover is so much higher and the number of bettors has increased so much. That's why we see that the problem is very serious, and we have to introduce a regulated and legal means for people to place bets. So that's because of the technological advancement, and it makes it more convenient to place bet. That's why the figures have gone up so substantially. That's correct. For the illegal operators to develop their mobile application, it takes a very short time. I think that the Jockey Club, as they said, they have to compete with illegal operators, and they have to identify the type bets and the classes of competitions to include. That's why it takes some time for the regime to be put in place. Mr. Lan, thank you. As is explained by the Secretary, there are different bet types and classes of competition for football as well. The Jockey Club has to identify the most competitive combination to be included in the regulatory regime. Any follow-up question? According to my understanding, I know that the administration has taken reference from the experience they accumulated when they regulate football betting. I know that the Jockey Club is preparing for the relevant infrastructures and systems and identifying bet types for the regime. But once you legalize and regulate the basketball betting activities, then illegal betting will immediately trigger prosecution. The law enforcement agencies must step up their prosecution and law enforcement action upon the passage of the bill. I believe that very soon the illegal turnover for basketball betting will go to the Hong Kong Jockey Club. How come it takes a few years' time? By a few years' time, do you mean 3 years or 5 years? I don't really get it. Mr. Wong, thank you. According to our experience with regulating football betting activities, as I mentioned, the Jockey Club took some time to identify the best bet types and classes of competition combination in order to compete with illegal operators. I'd like the administration to supplement us with more information, and then we will go into clause-by-clause examination perhaps in the next meeting. The figures quoted in the paper supplied by the Jockey Club. I wonder if the administration has engaged any third party to verify the figures and numbers before they formulate any policies or make any decision. Second, many members asked about the increase in the number of illegal basketball bettors by 186% in 2024, which amount to about 430,000 Hong Kong residents. We don't see a distribution of age groups among bettors. If we have such information, then we can be more targeted in our promotional campaigns. The percentage of people aged between 18 and 21 is low because they don't have a stable income. But for people aged between 22 to 30, they start working, and that's why they may be more incentivized to gamble. So I wonder if the proportion of bettors is higher among this age group. If the Secretary does not have such information at hand, please supplement it before the next meeting so that we can go into it in the next meeting. Mr. Tommy Chang, I do have such figure. I can supply that to the Secretary and to you. We conducted a questionnaire survey and we asked the respondents their age. We're not just talking about people aged between 18 to 22. For people aged below 30, only some 10% of them are bettors. I can share with you the outcome and results of our survey. Mr. Tommy Chang, please send the outcome and results of your survey to the LegCo Secretariat. That's the survey done by the Liberal Party, not by the Jockey Club. Well, that counts as a third party. Secretary, anything to add? Thank you. We do have the numbers asked by the member. We can supplement it after the meeting. Around 10% of people aged between 18 and 30 are bettors. The Jockey Club actually engaged an independent organization to conduct the survey for them, and they have been monitoring the trend. We don't just look at the report of the survey. We also look at the information and intelligence collected by the law enforcement agencies. That's why we are able to supply the information in the paper. And that's why we are able to see that the number of illegal basketball bettors have soared so much in last year. We look at the intelligence collected by the law enforcement agencies and the survey done by the Jockey Club. There's no time for us to go into the clause-by-clause examination. I believe that we have concluded the discussion on the policy matters. In the next meeting, we will look into the written submissions we receive. That's it for this meeting. As for the date of the next one, the Secretariat will let you know. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.